It's bigger than child support.
The alleged baby's father.
Suspect, Sean Michael Phillips.
It was more important, it's seemingly, to get rid of the baby.
Reports that he doesn't want to tell his parents that he's the father of this baby.
Help us find baby Kate.
A devastating case.
Kidnapped.
How long ago did he take off?
Just now, 5 minutes ago.
Arguing over the paternity of the baby.
The baby was taken.
Snatched.
I've been trying to call his cell phone. He's not answering.
Her clothes were found.
A desperate search tonight.
They're asking for the public's help.
Extremely worried about the safety of this child.
Baby Kate, look at her.
She's my daughter.
He is not cooperating.
Her life depends on someone coming forward.
That is for sure. I'm Diane Diamond, sitting in for Nancy Grace tonight. You know, we've talked about the mother in this case. We've talked about the suspected father, Sean Phillips, who is in prison, charged with kidnapping. Dr. Dorothy Wiggins is an MD. She is a pediatrician. I think we cannot talk about this case without talking about this child, now 5 months old. What happens with a little child suddenly separated from the two adults in their family that they're so familiar with?
Well, you know, one, we might start seeing where this child could be having some separation anxiety, they're very familiar with their family members at such a young age. But more importantly, we've already alluded to the fact that we have feeding issues and just general care of the baby. If the baby was being breastfed, now are they in the care of someone who knows how to properly prepare formula, or at 5 months or so you might start introducing solid foods? Are they going to feed the baby foods that might be choking hazards? So are they going to get frustrated if they're not accustomed to taking care of a young infant who may not sleep throughout the night? There's so many factors like that you have to be thinking about for a 5-month-old.
And as Mark Klass mentions, perhaps something dastardly has happened to this child, but we have to keep hope that maybe she is alive and someone is taking care of her properly. Let's bring in the attorneys. Meg Strickler and Midwin Charles are both defense attorneys. You know, you two, I'm laughing a little bit, I don't mean to, but Amy in New York asked the question, why can't we, when there is an adult with information about a little baby, waterboard them to get this information? Well, we can't do that. But is there something we can do, Midwin?
You know, it's hard to say. I mean, we do have an 8th Amendment in the Constitution that protects people against cruel and unusual punishment, and that would go against the type of interrogations that she's suggesting. It's unfortunate that we just can't reach out and shake this guy and say, tell us where she is. I really don't know what else there is to do when you have a situation like this.
Shake
him. And you're right, Diane.
I'd like to punch him in the nose is what I'd like to do.
This is reminiscent of the Casey Anthony story in the sense where the parent was the last person to see the child alive and is not telling anyone what happened to that child.
You know, Meg, it's interesting. I think it was Matt, our producer, who turned me onto this idea. This young man is being charged with kidnapping, which in the state of Michigan carries life without parole. Well, guess what? So does murder. So if you're his attorney, what's your advice to him if he suddenly says to you, you know what happened? It was bad. The baby's dead.
Well, do you want him to pull a Casey Anthony here and start talking about Zanny the nanny and magical jobs here? I mean, there really is nothing more that he can do. If he has some culpability here, keeping his mouth shut is exactly what I would tell my client right now. Keep it quiet. You're in jail with basically no bond, charged with kidnapping. Would it behoove him to speak? No. Keep himself quiet. I'm sorry, but that's how he needs to do here, and that is what he is doing. So,
and there's no death penalty in Michigan, so he would be charged with the same thing, kidnapping, which he might be able to beat, like Casey Anthony did, or murder. It's the same charge, life without parole.
Correct. That's absolutely right. So he has nothing to gain by saying anything if he had something to do with it. Now, if he didn't, then he should be talking like crazy and he'd be out of jail. So the fact that he's in there and not saying anything leads me to believe he had something to do with this poor little girl's demise, I think. She's no longer with us.
Well, again, we have to keep hope. Pat Martin is a local reporter there in Michigan with WMOM Radio. Pat, is Sean Phillips the only suspect out there? Are they looking at someone he might have handed this child off to for safekeeping, or what do you know about that?
Well, I'm told by law enforcement that he is the only suspect, and I'm also told that he's the only person that can give information, and this is from a highly informed source, Diane. This is urgent. It's desperate. He's in the Mason County Jail. We're told that they're giving him only bread and water, and he's sleeping on a metal bed. He's not in comfortable conditions right now. They're trying to break him down. It's desperate.
Wow, I know you have some good police sources there. Bread and water for Sean Phillips. Can that be real? Maybe that'll make him talk.
How long ago did he take off?
Just now. 5 minutes ago. I've been trying to call his cell phone. He's not answering.
His parents only knew that the baby existed, never actually met the baby.
How has he managed to hide the baby from his parents all this time?